All right, then. Are we live? Yes, looks like we are live. Hello, everyone. All of you, my followers of darkness, shadows, scavengers, and villainy aficionados. Welcome all. Bienvenue. Get around, get around. I'm your host, Laura Shadows, and welcome to one of my newest live reviews episodes. Today, as you can see just from my hat, I'm in the mood for Star Wars, and I thought, what better way to start this review by reviewing well, at least one of my favorite and most and biggest surprises in Star Wars animation coming out of Lucasfilm, Star Wars: Tales of the Jedi. Now, anyone who doesn't know, if anyone of you have never seen Star Wars Tales of the Jedi before, basically it's an anthology series in which like three episodes tell the stories of Count Dooku, and other three tell the stories of Ahsoka Tano. Basically, three episodes about a fallen Jedi, and the other three about a Jedi in exile. And let me tell you, like this TV show, ever since it was first like announced on Star Wars Celebration, I was kind of really curious to see, especially when I heard that Dave Filoni was behind it. It kind of made me curious, what Dave Filoni is going to be up to in this one. I've seen some of the concept arts, I've seen some of the ideas, some of the voice cast revelations, and in bits and pieces, onward before the official release, and I was kind of intrigued, even though personally I was never kind of like big when it comes to anthology series, because I mean, if you have seen my Shadow Council episode about the Twilight Zone, basically kind of proves my point. But sometimes, from time to time, I'm kind of getting intrigued, from some like anthology series, down the way. Like for example, Tales of the Jedi, Tales of the Empire, or even outside of Star Wars, Secret Level. There are some anthology series that kind of interest me, but this one definitely took my attention, especially the episodes about Count Dooku. But overall, it was a big surprise to me. It was a really big surprise to me, and I really cannot wait to dive into it. Now, before I go to my overall review, I just want to say I'm just so every time when I see this type of like Clone Wars animation, it makes me giggle. It makes me so exciting. Because this is a type of animation I grew up with ever since the Clone Wars, the movie, was released and all, and seeing it, inside, inside of this anthology series, way like even way more better looking, really well polished, and it's just simply wonderful. I mean, when it comes to the animation, Lucasfilm doesn't make a miss at all. They still got it. Even though I know that the branch which is kind of involved with the Clone Wars type of like animation has closed like for a couple of years already. And perhaps Tales of the Jedi alongside Star Wars: The Bad Batch Season 3 might be like the last time we're ever going to hear where we're going to see this animation. But I still have this glimpse of hope that we might see this type of animation in the future. But then it was worth to mention, that when it comes to the animation wise, this TV show, is just simply wonderful, wonderful. I mean, you can never go wrong with the Clone Wars animation. So without any further ado, let's begin, shall we? So basically, the first thing I'm going to talk about is the Count Dooku episodes. Now, I will say this: like the very first time when Dave Filoni and the crew announced in Star Wars Celebration that they're gonna do two Jedi's, like one of them being Count Dooku in his younger days before he fell into the dark side, and then the other one being Ahsoka Tano. I will tell you, the very first thing that caught my attention was Count Dooku, because that's one of those things that really, really, got my attention, because I was always kind of curious, how he fell into the dark side. I mean, I know from my knowledge, I know that the Legends origin story is a little bit different than what the canon version basically was shown in Tales of the Jedi. But either way, I was still kind of curious to see where they're gonna go, and I can tell you, boy, I mean, out of all the Tales of the Jedi TV show, I would say the Count Dooku arc is the best part. Oh my God! From when he every single episode, all three of them basically, the way how they tell the story of Count Dooku, from like the way how his point of views have changed, the way how each and every time he falls deeper, deeper, deeper into the dark side, every time when he basically kind of becomes like you know basically going in the opposite of the Jedi's point of view, and like seeing other, basically seeing everything that was happening around him, different points of views, and then of course in the third episode, when with Qui-Gon Jinn's death, and then of course later on the battle against Yaddle. I mean, like it was wonderful. It was wonderful, and I have to say personally, Corey Burton, like he's been voicing Count Dooku ever since the Clone Wars TV show, and I have to tell you, for me personally, this for me is by far the best voice performance that he has ever given for Count Dooku. He really did. And also, speaking of which, like I just want to say, when it comes to Count Dooku's design, it's really cool. They tried to make him as closer as like how Christopher Lee used to look like in his younger days, because because when you look at him, like from the face, like from the facial expressions, from the overall facial structure, the hair, like you can definitely feel like they were trying to make Count Dooku look like exactly like how Christopher Lee looked like in his younger days. Because after all, Count Dooku was played by the legendary Christopher Lee in the Attack of the Clones, and of course Revenge of the Sith, and also voiced in the Clone Wars movie, by the way. So it was kind of cool, because like I do remember from the Legends that he used to have like longer hair, like very Qui-Gon Jinn look, in Legends. So, but to be honest, I'm happy they stick with this version when it comes to like the overall design and everything. I mean, there's all sorts of things in this, that I really, really loved. Like for example, one of the coolest things I was always kind of interested to see on screen is basically the relationship that him and Qui-Gon basically had, in the past. And, seeing him and Qui-Gon, especially in the very first episode, when they were like, investigating the kidnapping of a senator's son, the overall chemistry between them, the overall relationship, it was just simply, really cool to see, and also, I mean, to kind of, basically put the cherry on the top, like, it was really great that the younger version of Qui-Gon was basically voiced by Liam Neeson's son, and which is, for me personally, it's a really cool thing. Like the younger version being voiced by the original actor who played Qui-Gon. Which also, by the way, to kind of continue the family tradition, in the Count Dooku episodes, we also see an older version of Qui-Gon, and he's voiced by the main man himself, Liam Neeson. And now, let me tell you, that conversation between him and Count Dooku, oh my God, he almost dropped a tear. I literally almost dropped a tear because, like, oh my God, like, it really hit me deep into my heart and my soul, hearing Liam Neeson as Qui-Gon again. It was just simply wonderful. Also, one of the things I forgot to mention, like, Star Wars, Tales of the Jedi, as I mentioned before, I was kind of surprised that they were gonna try to do a thing like that, basically, which, because every time when I hear Star Wars Tales of the Jedi, it usually reminds me of that Legends comic book miniseries, that they used to do, which is kind of cool, But also, one of the things I love about the way how this overall anthology series was handled, that each episode were basically structured in a way that how the timeline basically goes. Like from the very first episode, which was I'm talking about a little bit later on, but for example, like the very first episode where it was like the birth of Ahsoka, and then basically like all the episodes of Count Dooku's arc, like in each episode you can see that some time has passed. Like when he was younger, then he was a little bit older. Then it was like, in the third episode, he was way more older, I just love this idea, the way how they constructed, those episodes. But anyway, there's a lot of stuff, in it. So basically, like the first episode was like about the investigation of the kidnapping of, like I said, the senator's son. The second one was like about a murder, about a murdered Jedi master. And then the third one was literally like, where Count Dooku abandoned the Jedi Order and literally like, fell into the dark side, officially, but again, each and every episode, the way how they traveled through the character of Count Dooku, because like I would tell you, after watching these 3 episodes, when I watched Attack of the Clones or even the Clone Wars TV show, it, it just simply, I look at Count Dooku in a different way, literally, because after seeing those 3 episodes, they made it made his character, like from the movies in the prequels, the Clone Wars TV show, it made his character look even way more better, much more better light, metaphorically speaking, and also kind of in an ironic way since he fell into the dark side, and anyway, uh, it was just simply fantastic. Like for example, like I said, from relationship between him and Qui-Gon, then his relationship between Count Dooku and Mace Windu, which was, by the way, it was really great to see them, together. And then of course later on, his relationship, with Qui-Gon and Yaddle, and basically the overall scene with Darth Sidious, that he had in the third episode, the Sith Lord, in his third episode, so to speak. It was just simply wonderful. I mean, the way how Dave Filoni and the crew were like, wielding this character in this 3 episodes was simply remarkable. And it's also, I will even go as far as say that these 3 episodes are like one of the most darkest, elements that like Star Wars has ever shown when it comes to in animation. And I loved it. I freaking loved it. Oh my god. And also one of the things that was kind of curious, because like especially from the third episode, like because you basically see that Count Dooku basically was still alive and a Jedi like during the timeline of the Phantom Menace, because like the exact moment when he was making a conversation with Qui-Gon was literally before he went to the Jedi Council and revealing, the Sith, about the existence of the Sith Lord Darth Maul, like which was kind of cool, because I don't quite recall from Legends, because I don't know if like was Count Dooku actually active during Legends, like during the time of Phantom Menace, or did he like abandon the Jedi Order way before that? That's the one thing I don't remember from Legends. But either way, it was kind of cool. Also, the one of the things I do love that they kind of explored here is basically the whole thing with Cypher Diaz, and also actually showing Count Dooku, deleting the Camino system, from the Jedi archives. Like, that for me was also brilliant. The way how they showed it, it was just simply wonderful, absolutely, wonderful. And again, it was just simply great the way how his character arc worked throughout these episodes. Now, one of the things before I go to the other part, I have to mention, and that is Yaddle herself. Okay, now I was introduced to Yaddle through Star Wars Legends, and I was always interested in her character. I always thought of her as a very cool, badass Jedi master, and I'm so thankful for Dave Filoni and the crew. I'm so thankful that they gave Yaddle some basically some incredible moments in the Tales of the Jedi series. I really am, especially her confrontation between her and Count Dooku, and I love that contrast, the way how they were fighting in that factory, and basically, she was kind of on the light side, and Count Dooku was literally where Darth Sidious was. He was kind of representing he was on the dark side, there was kind of a really nice contrast, But again, I love the way how they handled Yaddle in this one. And again, I was so surprised that Bryce Dallas Howard was voicing her. I was literally surprised by that. She did a remarkable job voicing Yaddle, 100%. And even though it was kind of it was kind of unusual, because that her dictionary is basically way more better than Yoda's. That was kind of interesting, But overall, it was really fantastic the way how they used her. Even though again, it's tragic, the way how she eventually, being killed by Count Dooku in the end and everything. But I loved, her way how she was trying to reason with him, just like on the same way Obi-Wan was trying to reason with Anakin. I just simply, love that. And by the way, I just have to say this. Darth Sidious, first and foremost, in this version we see the Darth Sidious like from the prequels, like we before the before he was deformed, before he sounded like this, like hearing Ian McDermott like voicing Darth Sidious, but this time like more natural, like with like a very natural like voice this time, or should I say with his normal voice. It was just simply fantastic. It was just simply fantastic, kind of like basically in the way how you can hear the difference between Darth Sidious's voice and the and after the before and after when he was deformed through his force lightning, and also one of the things before I go to the Ahsoka Tano part, like I just have to touch on this, like one of the things like I said, one of the things I love about this 3 episodes of Count Dooku is like not simply like I said his character arc in general, but like or even like his relationship with Yaddle, but the overall relationship with Qui-Gon. Because I can definitely, for what I've seen from these episodes, I can definitely assume that just like Ahsoka was for Anakin, I think like if Qui-Gon was like still alive, I can bet anything that he would have somehow still remained in the Jedi Order. I think like when he heard about Qui-Gon's death, I think like that was kind of like the last straw. It was kind of like okay, I have nothing to lose anymore. Like I have literally nothing that can keep me connected to the Jedi Order anymore. So I'm done. I'm joining Team Darth Sidious, basically. But again, it was really cool. It was really cool. And also one of the things I love about these 3 episodes is basically showing how more and more and more the Senate basically started to kind of get the hold on the Jedi Order, basically making the Jedi under their control. That was also kind of cool, the way how they were showing this and everything. So overall, I would definitely say the Count Dooku arc is definitely my favorite part of the Tales of the Jedi. Everything about it was just simply great, and of course, seeing him, with his own lightsaber, fight and everything was just simply fantastic. Although it's kind of unusual, because like the lightsaber holder that he possesses, it's kind of like weird to see him like but this time like in blue color. That was kind of like a little bit weird, but because we all got used to with him wearing red. Anyhow, with that being said, let's start with the Ahsoka Tano part. Okay, so Ahsoka Tano arc. Now, I will be honest with you guys. Between Count Dooku and Ahsoka Tano, I have to be honest, I wasn't quite excited for the Ahsoka Tano arc. Okay, now, to be fair, I loved the episode basically when she was a baby. The overall, her life, in the village, kind of being introduced to her parents. By the way, I just want to say this. It's really cool to see the actors who played Iden Verso in Star Wars Battlefront 2 to voice Ahsoka Tano's mother. Like, by the way, that was kind of cool to see, But honestly, that's the only episode of Ahsoka Tano I was kind of, interested, because this literally shows who Ahsoka Tano was before Plo Koon found her, and everything. So it was really kind of cool to see her, like, live in this like small village. Also kind of like, starting to, basically being shown, what life is and all and everything. Or even like, going with her own mother, hunting and everything. That was so, that was all, really cool. And also kind of seeing basically, out of all the species, Togrota were always like one of my favorite species. So, basically seeing their own like style of life, basically, it was really cool and beautiful. But the one thing about the episode that really interests me was the overall confrontation between the baby Ahsoka and the tiger, basically, or should I say the alien version of the saber-tooth tiger. I just love that moment. Like, ever since like he took her basically for his dinner or lunch, or maybe even breakfast. I don't know. I think like since it was like somehow like morning, I think like the baby Ahsoka was supposed to be his breakfast, But anyway, like he was going towards her, and he was like getting ready to eat her, and then she touched him and connected with him through the Force. That, I would say, that was pretty badass. That was pretty cool, and also seeing her on the top of the tiger while he just simply strolls towards the village and brings her back. Like, I just love that. And also as I have to say, I love the shaman of Ahsoka Tano's village. So, and especially like the at the very end of the episode where she basically realized what Ahsoka is, and the way how she said Jedi. She's a Jedi. Like it was really kind of cool. So overall, that was the only episode when it comes to Ahsoka Tano's arc that I was kind of interested. To basically how her life started. How she connected with the Force for the first time. Like that was for me my most interesting part. Now the other part, like I said, like the second episode, uh, like. The second episode is basically, we're basically see like a much more older Ahsoka when she's basically training, as a Jedi Padawan, and also it was kind of cool to see Matt Lanner back as Anakin. Also, at the same time, James Arnold Taylor as Obi-Wan. That was really great to see them. Also, all the times when I see Yoda in her episodes, it kind of breaks my heart, a little bit, especially like even she appeared once in a Count Dooku episode, the Murder Jedi Master one. Every time when I see him, I wish that he would say something, but in the same time, it breaks my heart, because like, the actor, unfortunately, the voice actor, unfortunately, who voiced Yoda in the Clone Wars TV show, like, unfortunately, unfortunately, he had like a really serious, personal accident, so he basically retired from the voice and voice acting in general, but it's still like, I just simply miss his voice. That's all I wish to say. Now, like I said, the second episode was like, Anakin trying to teach Ahsoka not simply how to be a Jedi Padawan, but also at the same time how to be a warrior. So it was kind of cool, basically how he taught her like through the clone troopers and also, seeing Captain Rex again, that was kind of cool, I will admit. And then the third episode was basically after Order 66. One of the things I was surprised is that, Dave Filoni and the crew basically showed Ahsoka being present during Padme Amidala's funeral. Like, that was one thing that I was kind of surprised, but other things I really enjoyed, like for example, was, the appearance of that Inquisitor, which also, by the way, later on appeared in Tales of the Empire, and I think it was called the 11th Brother. I think, that was a cool part, and also the other cool part I found about the third episode was like the whole fulcrum thing. That was kind of cool as well. But overall, I mean, again, besides the first episode of Ahsoka, or should I say, when she was baby Ahsoka, the other two episodes for me were like very generic. Like for example, the training part is something that we have seen throughout the entire Clone Wars. And then the third part is basically, we saw bits and pieces from like, season 7, after she abandoned the Jedi Order, I mean, it was kind of cool to see her as a farmer and all that, but overall, it was a little bit generic, but still, I love the character of Ahsoka Tano, and I know that she is Dave Filoni's baby, so I kind of guess, so I can understand why he chose her, basically to be, like one of the two Jedis, in basically who's gonna have their own like anthology episodes, so to speak. But overall, if I have to choose, Count Dooku's arc is definitely my favorite. Definitely my favorite of the two. Because like I said, after watching those 3 episodes, you're gonna see Count Dooku in a different point of view in Clone Wars and the 2 movies, for sure. Especially from the third episode, from his third episode, the Sith Lord. Now, one of the things I will also mention is that now after Star Wars Tales of the Jedi, we got Star Wars Tales of the Empire. Oh my God, we already have a comment. Ooh, it's from good old FRC. Hello there. This show is so underrated. I agree. While Ahsoka's episodes was strong, Dooku's was fantastic, as it was a part of his story I was so fascinated in. I mean, same with me, FRC. He was like the most interesting part for me. Fingers crossed we get a season 2. Loving the review. Thank you very much, FRC, for your compliments. And I do agree with you. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like the Ahsoka episodes were fine. I mean, like they were good. But the Count Dooku episodes for me were the best. Were definitely the best because his character was the one I was interested the most. When it comes to his overall backstory. So one of the things. So as I was trying to say, so we had Tales of the Jedi. We got Tales of the Empire. So the question I have now, I know that in April we're gonna have Star Wars Celebration in Japan. So my question is, are they gonna announce more Star Wars Tales, you know, TV shows basically, or should I say Star Wars Tales anthology series? Because I mean, it's literally with like Star Wars Tales basically being categorized as Star Wars Tales. You can literally do stories about anything. You can do about rebellion. You can do about bounty hunters. You can do about the criminal underworld. You can do Tales of the Sith, which is one thing I'm begging Lucasfilm to do. I really want to see a hardcore Star Wars Tales of the Sith. I really want to, now. But if they do, I really hope they're gonna move away from Darth Vader, Darth Maul, Darth Sidious. Well, Darth Sidious, I wouldn't mind if it's gonna be Darth Plagueis as well. I wouldn't mind, that. Now, but if I have to choose, when it comes to Tales of the Sith, I think that the biggest chances would be definitely be either one of the Sith Lords from the prequels, or maybe Kylo Ren or Snoke. As being like Tales of the Sith, although technically they're not officially Sith. But anyway, you get the picture. But with that being basically said, I really hope we're gonna get more Star Wars Tales TV shows for sure, definitely. Now, for my final thoughts, like I said, Star Wars Tales of the Jedi for me was a fucking revelation. I loved, like I said, I loved all the episodes. Even though Count Dooku's episodes for me were way more stronger than Ahsoka's. I enjoyed a lot of them. I love the animation. I love the way how they did Count Dooku's backstory. I love to see a younger and the classic Qui-Gon in it. And alongside all the other different Jedi's who cameoed basically in these episodes. Mace Windu as well, although he's the same stubborn jackass as he always was, in the prequels and the Clone Wars. But it was kind of cool to see him as well. Ahsoka as part of it was also great. It was also pretty cool as well. But again, if I have to choose between those two, I'm going with the Count Dooku episodes. They are definitely my favorite part of the Tales of the Jedi. But overall, as an overall series, it is definitely one of the best things that they've ever done in recent years, for sure. And and I really hope they're going to see more Star Wars Tales TV shows. I mean, if I have to choose, like I said, Tales of the Sith or Tales of the Bounty Hunters. Those are the two Star Wars tales I would love to see. Which now overall, like I said, I don't really have nothing to complain, because like I said, the TV show was great. I really had nothing really negative about it. Although the only thing I can say is, like I said, the Ahsoka episodes are a little bit weaker. But that's it. But for me, even that is a little bit nitpicky. So with the rating, I'm gonna give Star Wars Tales of the Jedi a 9 out of 10 shadows. I definitely this show really deserves this score. It was absolutely fantastic. Loved all the characters in it. I loved the arcs between Count Dooku and Ahsoka, especially Count Dooku. The soundtrack, is great. Overall, bring it on. Give me more Star Wars Tales TV shows in general. So overall, 9 out of 10. Like I said, the only reason why for me it's not a 10 out of 10 is because Ahsoka episodes, besides the baby Ahsoka episode, the other two episodes are a little bit weaker, for me. I would say these are the weakest part of the TV show, for me at least. And with that being said, here I am. I'm done. Man, it was really great to talk about this. I watched Tales of the Jedi over and over again, and I cannot wait to review Tales of the Empire next week. Especially Tales of the Empire, because that's one anthology series I'm really gonna have an interesting discussion about. But overall, Tales of the Jedi, if they decide to do a Tales of the Jedi season 2, I will object. I will not object at all. I just hope we're gonna see more Jedi. If they're gonna do a Tales of the Jedi season 2, I would love to see Luminara Unduli or Kit Fisto or Plo Koon or Ki-Adi-Mundi, or I mean, Mace Windu, not really, but I would love, to see more about, other Jedi Knights and Jedi Masters who are not that well known, basically. Those are the Jedi stories I would really love to see, especially that long neck one that it was in the Jedi Council in Phantom Menace. I always forget his voice, his name, but I would love to see him, for sure, but I can't remember his name. Damn it. But overall, here I am. I'm done, guys. Like always, you guys know the drill. Rate the video, comment, subscribe, give me all personal thoughts about what you thought about Star Wars Tales of the Jedi. Which arcs do you find as your favorites? Everything about Star Wars Tales of the Jedi in general. in the comment section down below. And as always, stay tuned for more. See you guys next time. And of course, Lord of Shadows signing off. May the force be with you. Always. Later, fuckers.